Yes, I'm back. And I checked on AnimatedJames' channel, and he released a new video called The Truth About the Brony Fandom. For some reason, I don't think this is going to be very good. But, let's get my reaction to this done anyway. There we go.
To all non-bronies watching this, don't worry. I'm not here to reiterate what you've already heard about us. I'm not here to tell you how misunderstood we are. I'm here to say something about us that I think needs to be said. And to all bronies watching this, rest assured, I'm not about to announce that I'm leaving the fandom or that I'm going to stop making animations about MLP. I just want as many of us to hear what I have to say as possible, because it's something that I've noticed pretty much ever since I started this fandom. And it's something that directly contradicts our motto. You know, love and tolerance. The idea that we accept everybody, no matter who they are, no matter how they act. As long as they love and tolerate, we love and tolerate them. We were tolerant of all types of people, and more importantly, tolerant of all types of personalities. Shy, serious, hyper, friendly, welcoming, sarcastic, goofy, deadpan. We loved everybody. And I'm saying that in past tense for a reason. Because after the things I've experienced involving this fandom, I can't say that we still do that with very much honesty. Speaking of honesty, whatever happened to that element of harmony? If there's one thing I've noticed when it comes to honesty, bronies don't seem to like that element as much as laughter or kindness. I mean, I know it's human instinct to not really like being honest because authority figures have taught us that when you're honest, you get in trouble. But you'd think of all people, bronies would at least appreciate honesty more than others. Well, after BronyCon 2015, I don't see much honesty in this fandom at all. Now, this personal experience of mine certainly doesn't apply to everybody, but it does shed light on the hypocrisy of the Brony fandom. While I was at BronyCon, I attended the Brony stand-up panel. I knew in advance that it was going to suck, and guess what? It sucked. And if you don't believe me, wait till it gets uploaded to the BronyCon YouTube channel and judge for yourself. There were two quote-unquote comedians there, a black guy and a white guy. And at the risk of making you all think I'm being racist, I'm just being honest, the black guy was way worse than the white guy. And the white guy still sucked. To give you an idea of how bad it was, and I'm not exaggerating a beat here, the stuff the audience had to say was funnier than the stuff that the people on stage who prepared material had to say. The black guy ended his stand-up set by straight up quoting the Shia LaBeouf meme that apparently no one else is tired of hearing except me, and the white guy straight up said, "Yeah, I suck at this." And he said that while he was on stage. That, and overall there was just hardly any laughter in the room. Like, at all. Like, out of the dozen panels I attended at that convention, the one with the least amount of laughter was the one titled Comedy. Now, when the sets were over, they had a Q&A, and I wanted to ask them a question. And I told one of the staff members what the question was going to be. And they approved it, and they let me ask it. So I was like, okay.
All right.
So I went up to ask the question, and the question was, if you suck at stand-up, why did you agree to do it?
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, I'm seen as a bad guy by everyone in the room.
Why?
There was hardly any laughter in the room during the parts that were supposed to be funny, and yet, when I'm being honest and saying that they suck at stand-up, I'm a bad guy. Now, instead of answering the question, the black guy tried being funny some more, and eventually he got, like, all defensive and said, well, if you think you're funnier than us, why don't you try stand-up? I mean, I never said I was funnier than them. I was simply asking them a genuine question, which they still didn't answer at this point. And when they did answer it, the white guy said, well, in order to get better, you have to be okay with your audience not liking you. Now, A, I saw his stand-up from the year before. He hasn't gotten better. In fact, he recycled a lot of his material.
So what's the point?
B, why would you be okay with your audience not liking you?
Yeah, exactly.
But I wasn't there to argue. I was simply there to be honest in a room filled with people who clearly had no interest in being honest themselves. So I walked out of the room, and you might think I took things a little too seriously in there, but if you went to a piano performance, and the piano player just did scales for an hour, and the piano player was like 20 years old.
Yeah, I'd get up and leave.
You feel the need to stand up and say something?
Mm-hmm.
It was the comedy equivalent of that, only slightly worse. Now, I didn't see it as that big of a deal. I said what I wanted to say, I didn't think I was being that harsh, but you know how rumors get spread around and the truth gets distorted and transformed? Well,
Yeah.
apparently, asking a genuine question to some bad stand-up comedians transformed into heckling the comedians and saying that they suck.
That's not
Which
true.
they did suck. But I wasn't heckling. I was asking a question during the Q&A.
And you were
A
being
question
honest.
that they approved of and let me ask.
Exactly.
And a question I can guarantee everyone wanted to know the answer to. The BronyCon staff heard about this, and by the time the rumor got to the BronyCon staff, they thought I was heckling, which I wasn't.
No.
So they decided to ban me from
What?
performing at the open mic. Yeah, remember when he said, well, if you think you're funnier than us, why don't you try stand-up? I decided to actually try stand-up and see if I suck, and if I do suck, I'll accept that. And before I could find that out, they banned me from performing. So, basically, me being honest in a civilized manner made them stop me from doing something I was completely allowed to do. Because that's what happens when you're honest among bronies. They stop you in your tracks. Yeah, you ever wonder why there's a joke amongst the Brony fandom that Applejack is a background character? It's because, very subtly
And I see Applejack
psychologically,
disappearing.
bronies hate honesty. We hate receiving honesty, and we hate giving honesty. And I don't mean Ghostbusters was a bad episode honesty. I mean you suck at what you're doing honesty. I didn't do anything I wasn't allowed to do. Again, they approved my question. So apparently, all I did wrong was be honest. Now, aside from that experience, I had another experience worth mentioning involving a certain brony artist and a certain joke I made at a certain panel. But the bottom line of that experience was this. A certain brony artist threatened to enact a DMCA takedown of my panel videos simply because she did not like a joke that she and her artwork were mentioned in. Despite the fact that I didn't say anything bad about her artwork in the joke, I didn't say anything bad about her, I didn't insult her in any way, I didn't say anything about her personally, but part of the joke involved rape, and she does not like rape jokes, therefore she threatened to have the video removed.
Fair
thus
enough.
Giving my channel a strike. Proving two things. A, this certain brony artist will go as far as destroying the work that another person did simply to enforce her values and improve her own image. Because, you know, love and tolerance. And B, bronies still get offended by jokes in 2015. Tosh.0 has been on the air for 6 years, and yet bronies are still sensitive enough to have something taken down simply because they're offended by it. Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right.
Exactly.
Do you know how many times I feel offended by people on a regular basis? With the stuff people say about me in the comments and the art people make that straight up mocks me on a personal level? People do this all the time. I don't demand that their comments or their art gets deleted. And I didn't even mock her, and she still threatened to have it removed. Now, these are all personal experiences, but they're personal experiences that showed me where the Brony fandom is headed. And where it's headed is completely contradicting to what bronies are supposed to stand for. This fandom was supposed to be different. You know why? Because despite it being based on a show made for little girls, we were supposed to be the mature fandom, the more evolved fandom. And yet, we're sensitive to criticism, we take jokes seriously, we're loud, we're obnoxious, we cheer and applaud things for no good reason, we care more about feelings than we do about competence, we think we're funnier than we really are, we all want to be heard, but none of us want to listen, we're easily led, and we quote memes over and over and over and over again. We are just like every other fandom in existence. We're not special. I'd like for us to be special, but the fact is we're not. And if we continue on the path we're on, we never will be. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect or even that good. I mean, if you ask around, you'll find out I've made tons of mistakes and I've made a fool of myself plenty of times, but I acknowledge my mistakes, and I do my best to improve. And I would like for this fandom to do the same if we want to keep saying that we love and tolerate. Because if we continue on this path, our motto should change to, we love and tolerate, unless we take offense. By the way, I'm just voicing my perspective. I don't expect people to agree. I don't expect this to change anything. I'm just being honest. And I'm not the type of person who immediately associates being honest with being a jerk. Although I will admit I do come across as a jerk quite often.
Okay, first of all, I sort of have to give it to AnimatedJames because honestly, honestly, honesty just really doesn't really exist in this fandom. And I actually could have understood that before I heard it come from AnimatedJames. For example, some bronies don't want to admit that they're cloppers and enjoy pony porn. Some bronies don't want to admit certain things that they create on Derpy Burrow and remain anonymous about it. And some bronies don't even want to admit that they love My Little Pony at all. Now, here's something I know from the bottom of my heart. The truth does not set anyone free. When I was listening to that story of how AnimatedJames was banned by the BronyCon staff for doing something that he was completely allowed to do, I couldn't believe it myself. It actually kind of reminded me of something that happened to me a long time ago. You want to hear a little story? When I was in elementary school, whenever recess was over, before all the students would line up at the school entrance and someone would volunteer to hold the door open for the students to get in the school. One day I wanted to help with opening the door, but the staff said I couldn't do it because it was mainly their job and something dangerous might be happening in the school, which was complete bullshit. I only wanted to help with a simple fucking task that doesn't even pay any cash. So I did it anyway, and of course I got in trouble for doing something good and completely innocent. After I got dismissed from the principal's office, a note was sent home about what happened. Now, after hearing that story, some of you might ask, was I sorry? Hell no! When the BronyCon staff banned, when the BronyCon staff banned AnimatedJames from performing at that open mic, I bet AnimatedJames wasn't sorry either. And I don't blame him. And finally, when AnimatedJames said that we cheer and applaud things for no good reason, that honestly hurt me. When he said we cheer and applaud things for no good reason, it made me think about the people who really look at our reaction videos. When he said we cheer and applaud things for no reason, does that mean our fans watch our reaction videos, but they don't really entirely like them, but they just hit that like button anyway, because they just want to make us feel like we're like we're making a difference, like our channels are actually doing well, when really we're not really doing anything good? What makes a reaction video special is that you watch an official episode of My Little Pony or some kind of fan animation or something comedy related that has something to do with My Little Pony, and we make our reaction videos to it, or commentary videos, whatever you'd like to call them. And people are supposed to watch them thinking our reactions are funny or our opinions are interesting, and that should be the reason they hit the like button. But when AnimatedJames said that we cheer and applaud things for no good reason, it just makes me think that all our fans are just not really real. Like, nobody really gives a shit about us. Myself, Ponyville Ranger, Abraham Falks, MasterMax888, Alex Side. Can't believe this. I don't hate AnimatedJames for making this video, because I can imagine it hurts some of our feelings, but at the same time it makes a good point, and it's pretty honest about things. I don't even know what to think of myself anymore. I came back early because I found out that the second half of My Little Pony Season 5 is coming back September 12th, which is this Saturday. And I was just thrilled. I was happy about it. I was hoping to come back still feeling like the normal happy brony I was, returning to business as usual. I'm not saying I'm quitting or anything. Honestly, I feel like AnimatedJames, when he said we cheer and applaud things for no good reason, it makes me feel like none of our reaction video channels have any purpose. Nobody really likes them. Nobody really gives a shit about them. I feel like he's reenacting that scene from Putting Your Hoof Down, where Fluttershy actually tells Rarity and Pinkie Pie that their lives have absolutely no purpose whatsoever. I don't hate you, AnimatedJames. I don't hate any of us. I became a brony because I loved My Little Pony and I wanted to leave my old life behind. But I gotta say, there have been challenges. For example, brony haters, anti-bronies, cloppers. A lot of stuff has happened in my life of being a brony. I think I honestly feel I just really need to stop worrying right now and maybe take a little bit of I need to recognize what this video really has to say. Like, AnimatedJames kind of did do a good job with this video, like, being honest, and it's sad that he was banned from doing something he was completely allowed to do for being honest. Something any human should be allowed to do. When he said we take offense to a lot of things, I can admit that, honestly. I take a lot of offense from a lot of things. Because I gave up on life to become a brony until My Little Pony completely dies, at least he's right about one thing. I take offense from anybody who tells me that there's more value to life than a fandom. Because I'm in this for life. something that I keep close to my heart, something that's part of me, permanent part of me. Okay. I think I finally settled down now. So, yeah, that is my honest and genuine reaction to Animated James's new video, The Truth About the Brony Fandom. I know Ponyville Ranger was really interested in hearing my thoughts about this video, so Ponyville Ranger, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you comment on it, sharing your opinion as well. And just a reconfirmation, I'm not going anywhere again. I'm not going back in depression. I'm just pretty sad, but I will react to the new episode on Saturday no matter what. I'm returning to business as usual no matter what. So at least that part makes me feel a little better. I still love you, Go Animated. I still love you, Animated James.